Yes, so the participants will be joining very soon. Actually, we selected a limited number of students for Gmeet so that we can moderate the session. Others will be joining on YouTube Live.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Satvik, and on behalf of Center for Innovation and Incubation NIT Warangal, I welcome you all to today's talk, which is part of Firefly, a CII flagship event. Firefly is a 2-month long event that is aimed at nurturing entrepreneurial spirit and leadership qualities and industry awareness among its participants. This will be achieved through various talks and webinars and workshops over the course of Firefly. All of this will conclude in a hackathon at the end of 2 months, where participants will put their newly acquired knowledge to test and build solutions to industry oriented problem statements. Today's event will consist of a talk followed by a question and answer session where some of you will get an opportunity to ask your questions to our speaker live. Those who are joining in via YouTube, please note that we are noting down your questions and we will ask them for sure. So do make sure you post your questions. Today we have someone with us whose entrepreneurial journey is extremely unique and at the same time very inspirational. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed speaker for today, Mr. Vatsal Kanakiya. Vatsal sir, he is the principal and CTO of 100x VC. It is a venture capital firm. At 100x VC, they fund early stage startups and help them grow exponentially with their funding and advice. They have invested in more than 60 early stage startups across 40 plus categories. They're also the first VC in India to invest using iSafe notes. They are also a SEBI registered investment advisors and they do category one alternate investment fund. For those who don't know about iSafe, iSafe means India Simple Agreement for Future Equity. It's a type of legal promise where the investors promise to buy a certain number of shares from the startup after a particular amount of time in the future of the startup. So what you have achieved will always inspire students and young minds to work towards creating something impactful and revolutionary. There's so much in your journey that I would like to talk about, but I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone present here when I say that we can't wait to listen to you speak and deliver your indispensable insights. So, without further ado, over to you, sir, to share your journey with us and help us understand the qualities of a successful and impactful entrepreneur.
Thank you so much, Yagna, and great to be here. Thank you to everybody attending here in the Google Meet and in the YouTube Live. Wonderful being with you all. I hope this becomes uh, uh, an interactive session. So please feel free to keep commenting in the chat here or in the YouTube section, and I'll try to pick up and respond as much as possible. In fact, to the organizing team, if you guys could add the YouTube link in the chat here, I'll just open it up so that I can also parallelly look at the comments if and when they come across. Um, but wonderful catching up with y'all. So, I was intending to talk on startup stories and kind of good practices on building a startup. But I thought थोड़ा structure लाने के लिए just to bring some structure, why not talk a story about how a startup can be started. So I'm gonna run you guys through the journey of a fictional startup, and during that journey I'm gonna talk about best practices or worst practices and other options with case studies from other startups that we studied. And I'm going to take the idea from you guys. So please be active in the chat and give me an idea. But before I get into how to start and best practices and everything, just some housekeeping. If you have any positive comments on the session or any key learnings that you loved, feel free to post them on Twitter. Tag us 100xvc WhatsApp. That's my Twitter. We'll make sure to retweet it. If you have some improvements you'd like to suggest where I could make this presentation a bit better, please drop them to me on email at vatsal@100x.pc. I always take feedback seriously and make sure I work upon it. With that, let me start off with slide one, which is an idea is nothing without execution, right? No matter how many ideas you have, right? It's useless unless you actually act upon it, unless you execute, unless you create value. And everybody will say idea taken this idea and built it out. But in the end, the one who wins is the one who executes, right? So remember, if you do want to be an entrepreneur, you have to execute. That is like table stakes. That is rule number one. Doesn't matter how good or bad your idea is, execute, execute, execute. Keep doing shit. Keep building shit. Um, Now, the most important question, do I really want to start up, right? Ask yourself this 10 times before you start up. Starting up is not easy. It sounds cool, but it takes a lot of, like, especially real startups, real businesses take up a lot of mental effort, physical effort, time, money, blood, sweat, tears. Your mental health goes, your physical health goes. Um, it's not easy, right? Ask yourself 10 times if you really want to start a business before you do. There are many other opportunities to create a good career, to create good life. Uh, Starting up is cool, it may seem, but it's very tough. So to make sure you really, really, really have that hunger to create something of your own, you cannot be satisfied by doing anything else but creating something of your own, right? मेरे को कुछ करके दिखाना है. I want to do it, even if that means going through all this pressure, all this pain, but I want to create something of my own, then you need to start up. There's two very broad types of businesses that when we talk about startups, right? Uh, One is a constant cash flow business, right? Where there's constantly increasing great revenue and value increases as a proportionally to kind of in a linear function as compared to the revenue, right? So the business value of the business, right? What a value, matlab, if I had to buy it today, how much would I buy it for? Right, that is the value of the business. So value is tied into revenue, and revenue grows linearly consistently, and the value also grows linearly consistently as a function of that revenue. So constant cash flow business, paisa under, money in money out, constant revenue, profitable, consistently growing, great business. The other is an exponential growth value business, right, where the idea is revenue also grows very exponentially and value also grows exponentially, right? It's like this. You can't even see the value or story or the revenue in the first 4 years of the company. Year 5 में थोड़ा, year 6 में थोड़ा, and year 7, right? This happens because the value of the company is an exponential function of the money invested, of the revenue generated. It's a different kind of business. In this one, you're optimizing for cash flow, you're optimizing for revenue. Uh, in this one, you're optimizing for value, right? Um, so that's the two kinds of businesses. Now, just running through brief differentiations, right? The regular cash flow businesses are generally meant to create wealth or income for the owners. It's meant to scale linearly with a steady pace, plateau at some point, but at least keep growing linearly, steadily. It's focused on value creation through income, and primarily the fundraise happens through debt, right? Whereas venture-backed, backable businesses tend to generate wealth for all stakeholders, including including your investors, including your employees, etc. It scales exponentially and rapidly with capital. So just like you saw, the growth happens just all at once, suddenly kind of thing. The focus is on value creation rather than on income creation, right? So value creation through equity, right? So value of the equity is what optimizing to improve. You typically raise venture capital, venture debt, private equity, etc. Right? So lots of other opportunities to generate to fund the business. Um, Let me go ahead. Both types are good. Let me be very clear. Both types of businesses are good, but you need to be clear on what your goal is, right? What kind of business you want to build. People try to build the first type of business and then want to raise venture capital. People try to build the second type of business and say, oh, I want to bootstrap it. They're not necessarily a mix kind of thing. You have to be clear if you want to build a VC-backed business, if you expect your outcome to be through value, if you expect your outcome to be through income, whatever it is, right? You need to be clear what I want to build. If you're stuck in between, then you're nowhere, right? So if you're building a cash flow business, if you're building a steady, regular business, wonderful, perfect, excellent. If you're building a VC-backed business, excellent, but you can't keep moving between the two. It will only hurt you. This is how I'll structure the session. Just if you guys can go through it. I'm basically gonna take an idea from you guys. And then I'll run you through the journey of that company. So here's my question. Give me an idea. Give me something I can work with. Either put it in the chat here or on the YouTube chat. Um, Organizing team, if you could share the YouTube link with me, because I'd like to go through the YouTube comments as well. Somebody give me an idea I can work with. I'm not seeing any responses. At least here, let me check the YouTube. YouTube पे भी responses नहीं है यार, कुछ तो डालो.
So yeah, okay, we have a response. We have few responses on Gmeet.
Oh, perfect. Loknath says leasing unused residential land on the outskirts of cities and building greenhouses on the land. Okay, interesting. Um, to start a social media network for university students where they can interact with. Um, okay, Adarsh, think over it. Abhishek says manufacturing fiber product. Okay. Others as clubs and events in themselves. Okay. Any more opportunities or any more thoughts? So, others, what you're describing is broadly what a company we've invested in called Blue Learn does. You guys might want to check it out. I'd like a different idea, maybe something unique. Come on, team. App on tourism guide. Harsh. Um, Harsha, sorry. Okay, that looks interesting. Maybe I can take that up. Platform for college students. Shashank, maybe something else. Come on, couple more ideas. I'm sure we'll get something. Anybody of you have thought of any ideas? Okay. Let me go with the startups and investors. Okay. Let me go with social media for university students for now, right? Let me take that up, or platform for college students. Either way, I think both are fairly similar. The reason I'm not taking just very clear, right? Like Loknath, your idea is generally not a venture fundable business. It's a commoditized business. It's a great cash flow business, but not ideally venture fundable. Abhishek, neither is yours. Manufacturing fiber products. Harsha, app on tourism guide is a vague answer. There's a lot of players in that. And Kirti, platform connecting startups and investors is not venture fundable too. Oh, this is good. Panimal. I love it. Great idea. App where one can sell and buy unused coupons for payment platforms. This is fantastic. As it happens during my college days, I built a product out on this idea, but then eventually we decided not to pursue it. But this is an idea I can work with. Thanks so much, Parimal. So great. I have an idea now. We have something to build on, and we're gonna start trying to build. Oops, did I turn it off? No. Okay, we're gonna try to build out a platform where you can sell and buy unused coupons for payment platforms, right? So that's my idea, an app where one can sell and buy unused coupons for payment platforms. Great, I have an idea. This is what it is. What am I gonna do? Right? This is a brilliant idea, but I need to define it further, right? Having an idea is one thing, right? It's a vague sentence that Parimal has put in, which is app where one can buy and sell coupons for payment platforms. But this idea is very generic. It's very vague. Doesn't tell me anything about what I'm trying to build. Let me define it better for myself, right? First, what is the problem, right? So the problem is I get a bunch of coupons, right? But I don't really use all of them, right? And many a times my friends want to use them, but they don't have access to those coupons. So access to coupons for certain e-com sites, etc., is low, right? Or I can flip it. So who has it? Of course, uh, individuals like us. But let me maybe put it a different way, right? Generally, students would face this problem. Maybe that's my target audience, right? Oh, students have a lot of coupons coming in. They're not making enough money to be able to pay for everything without a coupon. So they really want coupons, but access to coupons is low. I can flip it another way. I can talk about businesses. Businesses use coupon marketing heavily, but 95% of the coupons go to waste. Right? It's not a very targeted marketing effort. It's a very kind of spray and pray approach, right? Where most coupons go to waste, and that means the effort that these company put in into sending those SMSs out, creating those coupons, creating those plans, doesn't lead to revenue, right? So I want to maybe flip it on the business side of things, right? The problem is businesses run a lot of coupon campaigns, but businesses is small business. Let me focus maybe first on food businesses, right? Because I want to be as specific as possible, right? So I want to say food businesses, right? Food and beverage, F&B businesses tend to run a lot of coupon campaigns like Domino's, Box 8, Fresh Menu, Mojo Pizza. I mean, you Swiggy, Zomato, all of them. Right? Cloud kitchens, restaurants, all of them run lots and lots and lots of coupon campaigns, but they're not inefficient. This problem is very important to them, right? Because about 97% of the coupons that they sent out, I'm just throwing this data, I don't know if it's true. This problem is very important to them because about 97% of the data they sent, coupons they sent out are unused, right? That's a lot of lost revenue. And I'm solving this by creating a platform where users can exchange their coupons with each other, right? So I'm going to tweak your idea, Parimal, a little bit, where I don't want people to buy and sell coupons because businesses don't want black marketing of the coupons, right? That's not useful to them. What businesses want to do is make sure the coupons get used, right? Because it's a way of marketing for them, right? It drives revenue for them, right? Even if so, it drives the top line up is the idea, right? So even if it will maybe take 10% off their profits, right? जहाँ पे they were 100 rupees में maybe they were making 60 rupees as profits. Now they'll make 50 rupees as profit by selling at 90 rupees, right? But at least what will happen is that they will have that extra 90 rupees ka order on top of it, right? And that's the idea behind this. So they don't want people to be buying and selling businesses, right? And they want it to only be um, exchanged with each other. Or actually, let me say I go with your idea only, Parimal, where people can buy and sell. And that's how I'm selling, right? Where users can buy and sell business coupons through this product. How much better is it than what exists? This is probably, I would say, my goal is to at least drive up coupon adoption by at least 30%, right? So abhi jo maybe only 3% or 5% of coupons being sent per business are being utilized. I want at least 33 to 35% of those coupons to be utilized. That is my goal, right? So now let me put it into one statement. I'm building a platform, an app where individuals can, where for buying and selling coupons, right? For users and for F&B businesses who face the problem that their coupon marketings are inefficient and go underutilized with 95% being unused very frequently. And I want to make their life at least 30% better by increasing their coupon adoption by 30%, right? So that's my hypothesis. I've got a hypothesis where I'm talking about A, the solution, right? B, who I'm solving it for. C, how bad is the pain point for them. And D, how am I expecting my solution to make this problem better, right? So let me go ahead. Okay, so I've got my hypothesis, then I build my idea. Right? I'm gonna code it out, I'm gonna write the whole thing and then execute it, right? But I don't want to build the whole thing and realize, spend 1 year, etc., and then realize, okay, this is not working out. Nobody wants to buy it, right? So that's not a good practice, right? That's a worst practice. Um, so the good practice here would be to build an MVP, right? You wanna take an MVP, right? Sorry, take the smallest version of your product that will allow you to validate your idea to some extent and then ship that, right? You want to build that and sell it, right? So it's lazy but smart entrepreneurship, right? For example, let me take examples from now, right? So for WhatsApp, what is the MVP? They didn't start with WhatsApp groups. They didn't start with WhatsApp calling, WhatsApp video calling, WhatsApp status, none of that, right? All they had was peer-to-peer chatting, right? phone number to phone number chatting, SMS. बस उतना ही feature था. That was their MVP, right? I will be able to text people in my phone book on WhatsApp. That was their MVP. That is it, right? That was the simplest version of the product they could use to figure out if this makes sense or not, right? So similarly for us, what will the MVP be? Let's figure out, right? I need to figure out what is the crux of the problem. The crux of the problem obviously is that coupons are going underutilized, right? What is the minimum features, set of features that can help me validate the problem at hand? What is the most worth my time? So the simplest version I can create is I can just create a landing page, right? I can, let's call this company, what do I call this? I call this company, what was the name of the individual? Parimal. So I call this Parimal marketing, right? Um, yeah, it's what to do with delicious coupon for some veggie like me. Great. So, Parimal marketing, what it does is basically I create a parimalmarketing.com website where I just write a lot of copy, right? One for users and one for businesses. For users, I'll write, do you have unused coupons? Would you like to um, make money off of unused coupons in your SMS inbox, in your email that you've earned through Paytm, Gmail, etc., GPay, etc.? Then register here, right? Join the wait list. That's it. I've just created a wait list. On the other hand, what I do is I'll say, okay, businesses, right? I'll create a Parimal marketing slash businesses page. And I'll say, are you a business or an F&B brand is who I'm focusing on, right? So are you a food and beverage brand that is doing coupon marketing? Are you seeing low usage of coupons and inefficient coupon marketing techniques? We increase your coupon marketing campaign conversions by 30%. Want to learn more? Register below and another wait list, right? Just email. I've created a simple web page, right? I'm not creating the product at all. I'm just creating a web page describing acha design dalal and what we want to do. And I put it out there. How do I put it out there? That's the next part, right? I will sell my product. I need to build this minimum version of a product, right? Where I'm just trying to gather if people have demand or not. If more people are registering into the form, then I will get more demand. That means that there is demand for it, right? If consumers are filling in, that means consumer demand is there. If businesses are filling in, business demand is there. If businesses are not filling in, then business demand is not there, right? So either way, I need to figure out, do both of them want this? If yes, then I go to the next one, right? So for figuring that out, I need to sell my product a bit more, right? And the way to do it is action. Sorry, forgive me. I'm just gonna have a drink right now. Right. So once I've figured out, okay, I need to validate in this way, I'm gonna try to reach out to these customers, right? How am I going to reach out? So as an example, what ShareChat did early on was when they had a very early product, what they did was they reached out to people on Facebook groups saying, hey, do you want cool content to share on Facebook and WhatsApp, right? And they created a bunch of WhatsApp groups where they would add content. So they go to all these Facebook groups where people are already sharing content and put in comments, want more content like this? Join this WhatsApp group or go to this website, right? So similarly, maybe what you guys can do is go to Facebook groups or Reddit groups or WhatsApp groups where where people are already talking about topics adjacent to you, right? So for example, in our case, maybe we want to go to on the user side at least, we can go to a college students ka group, right? Something of a something. Maybe you have a WhatsApp group of your class or college friends or other colleges. Maybe you have a Facebook group of engineering means something along the lines, right? You have certain groups where you just put in, right, saying, hey, if you guys have coupons, why don't you join this WhatsApp group or register on this website, right? You try to spread and reach out in this kind of hacky manner, people, right? And you keep using word of mouth, sending a WhatsApp forwards, hey, share this with your friends if they face the problem of too many coupon messages and nothing to do with them, kind of thing. Right? And on the business front of thing, what I'll do is maybe there are a few groups on Facebook of restaurant owners. Maybe I'll just walk down to the nearest couple restaurants that we have and share this with them. I'll try to cold email people. I'll try to and just basically reach out to 20, 30 restaurants and gauge their interest in this, right? Abhi, let's say people have registered, right? That means, so that was the cheapest way possible, by the way, right? So I've convinced them to kind of come to the website and register, right? Now, what do I mean by this data, right? I've gathered this customer data, right, which I'm going to sell to FBI, right? The more data, the more money I get, and I get a green. No, that's not. This is obviously a joke. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gather customer data. I'm gonna draw insights from this data, right? So now I have a bunch of email registrations, but beyond email, maybe I can capture a few more things, right? So on the user front, for example, by joining the wait list, I ask them, what's your age? Are you studying? Are you not studying? Where do you live? How much money do you earn in general a year, right? On the business front, I tell you how many branches do you have? What is your sales? What kind of product do you sell? How much do you spend in a year on marketing, right? So all of this data that I collect, right, will allow me to check behavior of the users and of the business, right? It will tell me, um, um, okay, are people liking it or what kind of people are liking it or, for example, right? Let me take a couple examples. I'm also collecting data on the website, by the way, right? So let's say I see, okay, there are 1,500 people who came to the website, but only 500 that registered for as a early user, right? So that shows me, okay, I'm having 30% engagement, which is fine. But let's say 1,500 people, may say only 10 people end up registering, then this is like, okay, this is useless. Even if I have 10 people registration, that means that no, there is no demand at all, right? Out of 1,500 people. Whereas 15 में से 10 लोग register के, oh, that can still be demand, right? Though it's a small sample set kind of thing. So you need to kind of look at this data and try to figure out the behavior of the customer, right? Are they interested? Are they not? Never ask directly. And I'll talk about asking the right questions, but never ask directly, do you want this or not, right? Because the customer never knows what they want. They're never going to be able to tell you. This is a good practice. Now, let me take an example of this, right? Airbnb. If anybody asked you, will you let a stranger in to your home for one night, give them a bed, feed them in the morning, clean up after them, give them a towel, let them take a bath, let them take a, freshen up in your home and stay for a couple days? Would you do that? No, right? Doesn't matter how much somebody comes, you would not do that. I mean, ideally, if somebody would ask you in person, you would not do that. But that's where Airbnb didn't ask directly, will you do this or not, right? They looked at the data, they checked the behavior, they understood the timing of the market and said, okay, there is an opportunity here, right? While users are saying one thing, right, their behavior is very different. Another example is, if you ask anybody, are you going to stop using WhatsApp because they're using your data to sell ads, etc.? You will say, yes, of course, I will stop. I'm moving to Signal tomorrow, right? And you saw that happening maybe a few months ago, if you remember, right? All this hoo-ha in India about everybody moving out of WhatsApp. How many people left WhatsApp? No one. Everybody's on WhatsApp, and especially our parents and all must have been saying this the most, right? Oh, I'm gonna leave WhatsApp. You saw how much problem with privacy, data sharing, etc. Nobody left it. There is a very significant difference between what people say, which is meant to virtue signal, etc., between against what people do, right? So you want to look at the data, never ask direct answers, just look at the data and figure out if their behavior matches what you're expecting, right? So all of this tells me, okay, there is interest, right? Let's say I understand that there is interest in the opportunity, right? I see okay, 1500 में से 500 users have signed up, registered. Most of them are college students. Most of them are earning maybe 10,000 rupees or 15,000 rupees as stipend, either from parents or internships, right? And most of them tend to be from Mumbai and Delhi, right? Kind of thing. Okay. So I know a little bit about my persona. Now on the business side as well, I see okay, 15 different brands have signed up. Almost 20 different people came, but out of which 15 people went up and registered. All of them separate brands. Most of them tend to be have between 20 to 50 outlets across the country, right? But majority focused in one city, in Delhi and Mumbai, right? This is maybe data I've asked for, right, or whatever. So now I realize, okay, there is some sort of match. Students out of Delhi and Mumbai are looking for this, and businesses out of Delhi and Mumbai are looking for this, right? So then I said, okay, my behavior is described. I understand that people are looking for the data is telling me this. So let me go back, right? Now, my hypothesis until now has been validated. My idea works, right? There is something that people are looking for. Um, Now what else? Now I build it further, right? So I build my MVP. I build now my MVP now will be okay. One user can list on their marketplace, right? Saying, okay, hey, I have this, and I am selling it for 10 rupees. I'm selling it for 50 rupees, and somebody else can come and buy it, right? And businesses can also list coupons at par or whatever, right? And maybe business can start verifying, yes, this is a legit coupon, this is not a legit coupon. ऐसा मैंने पूरा product बनाया है, right? That is my MVP that I've built as a next step. Now I try to sell again. Again, similarly, find the channels. I say, hey, if you have free coupons, just put it here. And then people will come and buy. Payments मेरे बहुत ज़्यादा. I've not done Razor application. I think अभी तो UPI से ही करेंगे. Communication or WhatsApp calling, but listing platform किया. Very simple. And then this whole I've done. I've reached this same process. And then I gather customer data, right? Now, here what I'm seeing is in the data, right? What I'm saying is के बेचने बहुत आ रहे हैं, खरीदने नहीं आ रहे. Nobody pay money, right? But right, certain people are putting zero here, and then immediately it's getting bought by somebody else. So I'm saying, why is this happening? Why is somebody uploading and buying this? So I call them. They say, yeah, actually my friend wanted it. I couldn't transfer from the SMS for whatever reason of my day. Just listed it here for 0. I told him to wanted it. So I the behavior that I think I'm seeing is to share. I don't care about. I just share with that. Alright, interesting. That's the user behavior. That's go back. I change my hypothesis. Instead of my hypothesis being able to buy and trade, I say, hey, once on the platform and it's new update. So I did that empty out right now. Where what happens is, as a user, you're going to be able to add, okay, I have a Zomato ka coupon, I have a Swiggy ka coupon, I have a Boxing ka coupon, somebody else says, I have a pizza ka coupon, different. So he shares his list with me, I share my list with him, right? And then whenever I'm making an order, I check the list which is coming between us, I use whichever works for me. I sell it, I use it, and I get data. Okay, people are loving it, right? So now this is how I'm coming to an idea, right? I start with one idea, I try to iterate, right? I make kind of idea ahead. I try to build the version which allows me to gather data. I try to derive customer data from that what I built and start changing my product, changing my approach according to the behavior I observe from my data, right? And then I create new experiments, right? So consistently, this whole thing happens, right? You brilliant hypothesis, you go from hypothesis to you go to MVP, you go from MVP to you go to traction, you go from traction to insights from data, and then you come back to brilliant hypothesis. You build your idea again and again and again and again until a point where it's suddenly scaling so much faster, and it feels like this, right? It feels like, okay, let me just um, um, hold on, I'm just trying to share my screen again. This is what it feels like. Product market fit.
Let go. Let go. Let go.
Once you start feeling users pulling the ice cream, pulling the product out of your hands, that's where you know you've hit gold mine, right? That's where then you have to start scaling bigger and bigger and faster, right? I'll hold off until then. Any questions until now? Yes, go ahead, Loknath.
So you think pushing for a data-driven kind of business mindset would really help, right?
Yes.
How important do you think customer feedback is here? Like, of course, data would, if we analyze data, we'll get to know what customers want and what they don't want. But do you think customer feedback is also important in that regard?
No, for sure. I think quantitative data is generally the best, but it's tougher at the scale of early stage startup, right, to collect quantitative data. So you have to rely a lot more on qualitative data, which is customer feedback. On the feedback front, ideally you should not be. So it's about asking the right questions, right? Let me bring that up. Where is my slide on asking the right question? This is what it is, right? Wait, actually, there's another question. So on the feedback front, you want to get the data, right? You don't want features. You don't want to say, "Acha, आप क्या feature देखना चाहोगे?" Right? Because they will always say ideal features, or they'll say what is expected of them, right? Oh, this would be cool. Oh, this would be cool. But it's not necessarily what, like, for example, if you ask somebody, hey, would you use TikTok for educational videos, right? Where you scroll like Instagram Reels, but every video you scroll through will be educational and you learn so much. They'll say, of course I'll use. Boss, I read so many books, right? Or if you say them, hey, Instagram Reels, what is the feature you would say? You would say, yeah, I wish they would stop you after 10 minutes, no more reels, right? I wish that feature would be there, right? But they don't actually want to stop after 10 minutes. It's just signaling that they're saying, right? So you don't want to ask for features. You want to gain customer feedback, which acts as data for you to drive insights. Right? Try to gather as much primitive data, right? As much like first principle data as you can, and then kind of derive insights from it, and then use that user feedback to iterate, right, kind of thing. So to ask the right questions, you want to ask about, okay, what's the hardest? This is just one way of asking, right? For example, to customers here in this case, I would ask, what is the hardest part about all about managing the coupons you have in hand, right? So they say, well, I have a bunch, but most of them I don't use, but I still keep them, right? Either physically or on my SMS. They just waste up space and they clog up my ability to find, and I just can't search the right coupon at the right time, right? So, okay, when did you last encounter this issue of searching for the right coupon? Actually, a couple days ago, right? When I wanted to order from Boxed, but I couldn't find a valid coupon. I knew I had one last week, but I just couldn't find it in my SMS inbox. Why was it so hard? Because SMS sucks, and the coupon's text is very weird. I can't remember the number from which it came. right?
So I'm
How do you
sorry
try
to
to solve
interrupt.
it? I called up a couple of clients.
So your voice is breaking. Uh,
Hello, let me turn off my video.
yeah,
Is this slightly better?
yeah, I think it's better.
Okay. So I was saying, so okay, I say, how do you try to solve it? So they say, well, called up a couple of my friends who I knew might have a boxed coupon. This one of them said yes, so they shared it with me, and I used it. What do you hate about this solution? Well, I had to think through who might have this. It took up a way, it's so much of my time. It's such a waste of my time. I wish I had the coupon handy right then and then. Right? I should have known. It's just a waste of my time, right? Calling people up, trying to figure out who might have this coupon, right? So you asking these questions, what does this tell you, right? What does this whole thing tell you? So okay, what sucks for us is less about less about not having coupons, but maybe it's more about I can't search the right or find it at the right rate. That's what the hardest part is, right? Is searching through it, right? When did we last encounter it? A couple days ago. So it's very recent, very frequent problem that we have, right? Um, and current products just don't help, right? Current SMS search just sucks for them to be able to, in the current times, they just can't find it. They don't know how to manage those coupons. Um, in their current process, what they're doing is calling people up, right? Which can be automated to some extent, right? You can automate sharing coupons, right? And what they hated about is time, right? Wasted of time. And by automating this, I can save so much time. So their pain point has a direct correlation to the impact my solution can have, right? So this is how the solution, these questions are telling me what they want, right? They want some way to A, search through the coupons they have, and B, to share it with any friends they want, or to get coupons from their friends shared with them, so that internally you can use it, right? So again, early on, I think qualitative data through such questions, more indirect questions, which are more first principle driven, on which you can build insights, make a lot more sense. Over time, you would want to move into more of a data driven, quantitative data story kind of thing. I hope that helps you understand. Forgive me, I don't remember the name of the individual.
Oh, yeah, of course, it helped a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any questions?
Yeah, actually, when I was working on this idea, I got, I mean, I'm asking about this coupon idea. I got
Sure.
I got the issues like how we can handle all this coupon data. I mean, if at all, if we are sharing the coupon, maybe he can share the details with his friend, and and later he can sell that coupon. And how to manage these all privacy, privacy things relating coupon details like coupon codes, etc. Yeah, we
Oh,
need.
that's a different question. Maybe we can take that offline. Um, Specific to this question, I can discuss this because I've thought through this problem a fair lot. But yeah, any other questions apart from that? Let me check on the YouTube front. Abhishek is saying voice is breaking. I hope it's not breaking anymore.
I have a question from Vamsi Pranav.
From?
From
Vamsi
Vamsi on Gmail, sir.
Pranav, you can go ahead.
Hey, Vamsi, I can't hear you.
Vamsi, you can unmute and ask your question.
Yes, Vamsi, you're not audible to us. Okay, you could type out your
You
question.
can type it out.
Right.
While he's typing out the question, could I just clarify one thing?
Yeah, go
Sure,
ahead.
go ahead.
So when you were talking about, getting customer feedback, and trying to make sure that you don't ask them for like features and stuff, did you mean more of try to stick to simple questions with like very binary answers so you can
Yes.
see what customers want and what they don't want? Like you can compare.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Objective and make it directly related, right? So it's a second or third order level question. It's not it's not a first order level insight. Uh, you want to abstract from the data. You don't want to ask the question itself, right? If the question in your mind, for example, is, um, what do you think about adding 3D 3D video calls to WhatsApp, right? That's the question you want to ask. Users will say, "Oh, awesome, yeah, cool, whatever." Right? But let's dive deeper into the question, right? Um, do you? So maybe I want to say, what I want to ask is, what I'm trying to in my head, my hypothesis is, 3D video calls will help me create better engagement, add new dimension to how people are speaking, and maybe increase my engagement. That's my hypothesis. I don't know if that work or not, right? So that's why I want to add 3D video call. I can try to deep dive in it, actually answer those questions from the user, right? I'll say, um, do you there? Maybe there's a one other question. Let me just think through. What I'd ask is, um, okay, let me take another example. I think through and give you a couple examples, Loknath. So let me think through on a couple more examples. But in the meanwhile, let me answer Vamsi's question. How do you solve chicken and egg problem while building a two-way marketplace like a coupon marketplace? Great question. Obviously seeding both sides is very tough. There's two ways to do it. I mean, there's multiple ways to do it, right? But so one way, for example, is to um, create the network between users itself, right? So it's not business related. Businesses are not yet kind of adding any coupons, right? All you're doing is you're helping users share coupons with each other. Now in this case, what is the smallest network I can bring to the table, right? The smallest network I need is two people. Why? So again, taking the example, let's say I have 15 coupons on my phone. I don't know how to search them. It's too much effort to search through them and filter out the coupon that my friend may want, right? But at the basic level, what I can do is I build an app which says, okay, it will automatically scrape all the coupons that you have on your phone and keep that list ready, right? And you can automatically share that list with any friend, right? Now that means at the basic level for this app to work, I need only two people, right? One person who gets all his coupons scraped, and the second person is the one he shares it with. Once they both are using it, they will keep sharing with each other over time, right? It doesn't matter because that network is self-sufficient. It's not going to break down because there's nobody. They both will keep sharing with each other even if nobody else is using that. Now the next step is to add more people, right, around them. So I have 15 coupons. I am sharing with one friend. Now you try to incentivize me to share with somebody else or the second person to share with somebody else, right? And you try to kind of build it out that way. So the idea is to figure out what is the smallest self-sustaining network I can build, right? Which is in this case a network of two. Again, for example, in Zoom calls, the smallest network is two people, right? You need two people to join the call. So as long as you have two people who think, okay, Zoom is the best product to go on video call, they'll keep using it between them. Then the idea is to expand it from there, right? So in any chicken and egg problem or marketplace, right, or network effect product, you want to figure out what is the smallest network and try to build that out, right? So now the smallest network, you try to build, figure it out using a couple of things, right? One is the user persona, the number of people you need, right? Location, but also time, right? Let me take an example again, right? So for example, Uber, um, if you think about Uber's smallest network, it's still going to be very large, right? You'll want 100,000 cabs in a city, let's say Mumbai, 100,000 cabs in Mumbai, and at least 500,000 users in Mumbai, right? That would be a self-sustaining network. But I mean, obviously, you can't start with 100,000 cabs, right? So what they instead focused on was specific time as well. For example, let's say right, okay, at 9 a.m. everybody will come to the train station. Everybody will arrive at the train station, want a cab to their office, right? Which is also in a certain area. So you want to make sure from 9 to 10, right? From 9 to 10, you have enough cabs, let's say 100 cabs, 200 cabs, 500 cabs in that area, in that train station area, for the users to take and go to their office. So you see how the smallest network can be built even using time. Similarly, let me take the example of Reddit, right? For example, I started going to Reddit for anime. I don't know if any of you read anime or I mean read manga or watch anime, right? But basically every week One Piece releases one chapter, right? The mangaka of One Piece releases one chapter. So initially, I just started googling One Piece latest chapter, and then the Reddit link used to come across. So I used to go and read discussions, right? And then I realized, okay, every Friday 11 a.m. is when One Piece latest chapter is released on Reddit and people start discussing. So then I started to realize, okay, every Friday 11 a.m. It's a habit now for me. I'm gonna go and attend. I go to Reddit for every Friday at 11 a.m. Right now, over time, then this becomes okay. I'm looking at other subreddits as well. I'm joining for Tuesday for Boku no, I mean, My Hero Academia release. I'm joining on Wednesday for Jujutsu Kaisen release, right? And then suddenly I've joined multiple subreddits and I'm using it every week, right? So the idea is to find the smallest network, which can be time, place, type of person, location, event, anything, right? But the smallest trigger where you can make sure कि ये pinpoint time पे I have enough people on the product to use it, right? It's okay if rest of the time nobody is coming, but can I, in a recurring manner, get people to come at that particular time on my product, right? So ये coupon पे if I can do रात को 9 बजे, can I get everybody to upload the coupons and or 7 p.m. right? Because that's ideally when people will be on it. Right? 7 people, can I get everybody, if it was an open marketplace, 7 people, can I get everybody to upload their coupons and everybody to check for coupons, right? 7 to 80 yoga coupons available, right? Whatever. Now I try to see it in that manner, right? Which will allow me to, yes. So I hope that answers your question, Vamshi. Loknath, I think, sorry, the name was Loknath.
Yes.
Loknath, I think to your question again, forgive me, I'm rambling a bit, but I think let me take another example here. Um, uh, what would be? So Juicero is the anti-example here. If you guys know about Juicero, right? Juicero is basically or raw pressery. Yes, yes, that's another company, right? They wanted to bring cold pressed juices, right, to the masses, which was meant to be healthy and meant to be consumed on a daily basis. The idea was to create a kind of consumer behavior change, right, where um, every day you would have only this juice for lunch, right, kind of thing, and it would be kind of a what do you call a diet cleansing diet kind of story, right? Now, what went wrong is while they asked everybody, would you use it? And they said, yes, of course, I want to go on a diet. I want to drink a juice, anything that will help me lose weight, right? But the story that went off was their retention just wasn't there, right? Couple things. Firstly, the price, right? They thought people will pay the price they were charging, but it was really costly. It was like $80 a bottle, and for a whole week for meals, you're paying maybe some, 560 rupees or so, right? The second is people did not want to have just juice for lunch every day, right? Even however heavy it is, right? You want a change in topics, right? Now, if you dive deep saying, okay, do you do any diets? So they'll probably say, no, not so much. What's the toughest part of dieting? They'll say, well, it's that it gets very routine. There's no taste to it, and you just get bored after a time, right? It gets on your nerves because the diet food is so bland and boring and so repetitive every time that I just can't have it, right? And so now I've gotten to the core of the problem, which is dieting is tough because people can't uh, eat bland food, right? Now, if I know or repetitive food, if I'd known that, then my hypothesis on how to help people diet would have changed, right? It wouldn't have been okay. I'm just gonna make them drink the same blind juice every day, right? I would have tried something else. So I hope that helps you better understand. But basically, is try to kind of get to the root of the problem, right? And then try to kind of draw insights from them. Um, Anyway, I'm gonna move ahead because I think we're running out of time. We have run out of time as it happens. I mean, customer development cycle. Obviously, if you do not know who the customer is, then you don't know what good quality is, right? You don't know what to measure, right? If you think the customer is students, then your measure of quality is different. If you think the customer is old-age people, then how you measure quality of product that you're serving to them is very different, right? Both think of quality in very different manners. So you want to know who the customer is in a very deep manner to make sure that you can also measure if you're providing the quality they're expecting, right? You want to target people for whom the problem is high and high intensity, right? Students, this is a frequent problem there. Let me be specific, right? Students who are living in hostels or not home basically find this as a high frequency and high intensity problem because they're ordering out of home very frequently, and they don't have the money to be kind of buying food at high prices, right? So they want uh, cheap deals, good deals, and they want it regularly, right? And get rid of the bad customers. Now, bad customers means two things, right? One, those who do not meet the persona you right. You want people to hire. If somebody for whom it is a low frequency or a low intensity problem, then it doesn't matter what you're saying. You don't care about those because they're not the people you're building for, right? So you got cut the noise importantly, right? Um, this all I spoke on. Once you kind of start get data customers, you want to disrupt pivot or iterate, right? Then iterate is kind of change and improve the solutions little by little, little by little. When you're pivoting, you're changing the customer, the problem itself. It's a large change, right? Large change. So, as an example, right, in this case, when I did the whole moving from a marketplace of buying and selling coupons to social sharing of coupons, that's more of an iteration on the existing product, right? Whereas a pivot would be a completely different product altogether, saying, okay, I'm now trying to solve the problem of uh, companies not being able to distribute coupons, and I'm creating a platform for where companies can list their coupons and people can just use whatever or something. It's a fairly large change, is what I'm saying. Maybe a couple examples here would be. Obviously the obvious example is Discord started as a gaming company, right? They tried a couple gaming companies, and feel internally while building Discord, they building a gaming game, they realized that Discord is what is working. No, actually, wait, that was Slack. Sorry about that again. Slack is the one which was a gaming company. They built a tool for internal communications. The game didn't work out, but they realized, hey, there's a story here in the communication space, and let's build that out. Discord, on the other hand, um, built a Skype competitor, right? Where They started with something they wanted to build Skype for gaming, right? Because while gaming, people wanted to talk to each other, but they were using Skype, which was broken. It was a really bad experience. So they reduced everything to only the voice functionality, right? And then they kept iterating on it. पहले तो voice chat ही था, उसके ऊपर regular chat आया, फिर channels आया, etc. So that's constant iteration, adding, changing slightly, modifying. Well, Slack is a complete pivot. We covered this, just a brief measure on practices about tracking the right metrics. There's two kinds of metrics. You want to track primary metrics the most. These basically represent delivery of value to all stakeholders, right? This value should ideally be recurring, and it's clear value that has already been created and not potential or value, right? So ideally, that's either revenue or number of active users that you get, right? Revenue for more companies, active users for companies that don't make any money, right? Revenue basically, even if it's a marketplace, right, then it would be GMV because that showcases primary value creation for all stakeholders, kind of thing. Then secondary metrics tell the rest, 20% of the story, retention, churn, LTV, everything. Lot of them read over, but it's a bit early for you guys, I would say. This is not required, but yeah, that's about us. That's the presentation. Happy to answer any particular questions or let you guys understand our work. I'm very for the long presentation, but if anybody on the cheat sheet, YouTube or the Google Meet, I'm happy to answer questions. Yeah, Loknath, go ahead.
Sorry to keep coming back again and again. So I think you stress a lot on, execution of an idea, right? Even if the idea doesn't have a lot of potential, if you have the right person behind it, it can really do wonders. Like, I think I read a piece you put on the 100XC website, and you stressed about the execution. So I just wanted to know, when you are talking to someone who's come to you, for funding, how do you gauge whether or not they have the drive to accomplish whatever they're selling you? Because, a startup, they don't have a lot of history where you can, go back and see how they've handled things. So how do you gauge it? What do you look for?
Sure. So, looked at to add some context to this, right? I love this one saying that if it's a great market and mediocre founders, the market wins, right? And if it's a great market, if it's a mediocre market and great founders, the market wins. And if it's a great market and great founders, that's where magic happens, right? So ideally, any idea that we're evaluating, we would still want to look at a good market, an excellent market, because market is basically where you're building. The opportunity is very critical, right? If you're chasing, if you're chasing pigs in the air, then I don't know if that's the right idiom, but then it's just it's a futile effort both from us and from you as a founder, right? But there has to be some opportunity. Execution front pay, many a times you do back a company just because we believe that the founder will find their way. And in those cases, we do tell them that, hey, listen, we don't have complete conviction on what you're building right now. We expect you to iterate on it, to pivot on it, but we're funding you because we like you as a founder. We want to give you the opportunity and the time and the for lack of a better word, luxury to figure out what you're trying to build and get there, right? That doesn't mean we fund at कि कोई idea नहीं है but पैसा दे दो, right? You have an idea, you have a hypothesis which might work, but it's not a high conviction opportunity, but you believe, okay, the founder find a way to make it work or to find a different idea which works, right? So you back them for that. What you gauge is typically, you either look for prior, so I think of it as 3 E's of pedigree, right? Pedigree has 3 E's. So one is education, right? Um, you've studied in the same fields, you've studied from great institutions. Either or, education can be a good showcase of pedigree. There's experimentation, right? Experimentation is have I done experiments in the past on this? Have I spent a couple months? Have I spent a year just trying to build this out? Or have I done some research, anything on this before? And the third is experience. Right? Have I worked in a company in the same field in the past? So these are three ways of kind of past proof of execution, right? Saying, okay, yeah, I've already been in this space. But more intangible ways, I think you're generally looking for pace of execution, hunger to learn, growth mindset, right? This, certain founders you meet and, they're just like, on top of whatever you're saying. Right? They're listening to you, they're taking it in, and they're internalizing it so well, and they're picking up the important parts of what you're saying, right? And then their turnaround time is excellent. You tell them feedback, hey, this should be improved, don't do it next time, or hey, change the deck and send it to me. And they immediate, right? It's 30 minutes and they're back, right? No excuses, nothing. Just do, hustle. You notice that in founders. It's obvious, right? It's very hard to miss. In the best of founders, it's very hard to miss that they're excellent executors, and you can see that in their ability to. One thing I would say, despite everything, even if you're great executors, um, attitude of gratitude is what many hustlers miss out on, right? They tend to think, oh, I'm the best, I can execute everything, and start getting cocky, right? Any entrepreneur who comes off as cocky, it's much tougher for you to raise. If you're humble, if you've got a grateful mindset, not just to VCs, I don't mean to VCs, but to other entrepreneurs, to the industry, to anybody who's being part of your journey, good luck. To your parents, just, oh, I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to have opportunity to be building this. I'm lucky to have raised the round that. I'm so grateful that I have the best team with me. I'm so grateful I have great investors with me. There's a difference, and that is also very noticeable. I can't give you a very tangible way, Loknath, on how we evaluate. It's not like we ask you to go through a form or take a test and we know immediately, right? It's either past proof of execution. So, we know either through references or, through your history itself that, this person can execute, right? Or you look for those intangible signals on how they're engaging with you, how fast they're moving, how well thought are they responding, right? After thinking it through, it's all things you start marking and noting.
Um,
Uh, yeah, I hope that helps.
yes,
Any other questions I
absolutely.
can
Thank
answer
you.
for anybody?
So we'll take one last question. There are also a few questions that the YouTube participants have submitted. So if is there anyone in Gmeet who has a question? All right, I'll take the question from the YouTube participants. So one of them asks, what do you do if a startup you invested in is not growing at the anticipated rate or is unsuccessful?
It's unfortunate. One of our primary or driving principles is ideas can fail, ideas can go rogue, but founders rarely fail. We believe 99.99% times founders have given 100% of what they could give to the company. So we very rarely hold it against the founders, right? We believe they're trying their best to create an outcome for all stakeholders, right? So we don't really hold it against founders or anything. What we can do is once you start seeing those early signs of stagnation or directionless, it is part of our jobs as investors to try to bring direction to founders, right? To guide them on the right track. That's not necessarily through, advice or anything. There can be multitudes of reasons why it's not happening. We try to get them connected in the industry, help them raise, connect to experts, mentors, advisors, clients, which can help them find the right direction. You spend time with them to help them figure out where exactly they're getting stuck, right? And the role here of a VC becomes more like an Occam's razor, right? Because most times founders tend to be really smart and have a bunch of ideas and creative, but it's tough for them to figure out what they want to work on, right? Cut through the crap is tough for them. So it's important for investors to play the role of, okay, this won't work, this won't work, this won't work. So out of the 100 options you have now, there's 5 options. You need to figure out what you want to do. Those are some things you do. Um, you try your best to create an outcome as an investor. You try your best to ensure that the company survives and goes through. Unfortunately, if it doesn't, you know, that's what it is. That's the game we live in. It's unfortunate, but we try to make sure that the founder's mental health really sticks through. Right. In the end, I would rather the company die than the founder, go through something unspeakable. So that's the idea, and you try your best as an investor to build it out, and hopefully things go well. I mean, I don't know if I can add anything beyond that, to be honest.
Like, so, thank you so much for coming today, sir. This amazing talk comes to an end. I would like to take this opportunity to thank sir for taking out your time and from your busy schedule and agreeing to deliver this talk today. What you have achieved at this early stage is just the beginning of a long tale that we will be telling for decades to come. We couldn't have hoped for a more enriching talk as part of our Firefly program. This talk rightly sets the tone for all our upcoming events and sessions that we have planned for our students. It truly has been wonderful listening. It's been wonderful listening to Sir and your experiences and your guidance. Once again, thank you so much for being here today, sir, and for everyone else also.
Thank you so much, everyone. Glad being here, and hope to see you all again next year. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.